Welcome to episode 206 of Clarity Compressed. My name's Paul J. Daly. I'll be your host, and today we're going to talk about making the most of every opportunity.
We're making our way through the fog of life, and clarity is understanding where we are on the map. You are here.
Let the good times roll.
This is Clarity Compressed.
I like to take opportunities when I see them, and it's not something that I usually work at. It's something that kind of comes natural to me, but I understand it's not something that comes natural to a lot of people. I'm an extrovert. I like to jump in when I see an opportunity, or I like to meet people. I like to talk. I like to try new things. And by de facto, that makes me someone that is more inclined to take opportunity. Let me tell you a story of something that just happened on a trip I took to Florida. So I had a speaking engagement in Orlando, and I've been trying to take my family as much as I can. So I'll take one of my kids. You know, you saw my son I took when we went and saw Jocko. I took my daughter when we went to do a new brand launch at a dealership. I took my other daughter when we went to a conference in Kentucky, Glenn Lundy's conference, so she could hang out with his daughter Savannah. Sometimes we roll heavy. We roll 7 deep, and I bring the whole family with me, right? It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of worth it as well. So this trip, I have a speaking engagement in Orlando, and we took the opportunity to just, my wife and I, get away for a couple of days. And I'll tell you what, when we get away for a couple of days, a whole lot of things happen. Number one, we have a chance to talk, right? Because we're not, shuttling around 4 children. But we tend to get in a lot of conversations with a lot of interesting people. And we were at the airport, and we had checked our bags because, let's face it, when we don't have the kids and we can check our bags, we try to do it, because having the kids, it's always like you want to keep your stuff with you. What if they lose your bags, and then you're really in trouble? But when it's just us, if they lose a bag, guess what? We can make it for a day or two because it's just us. I mean, if you don't have any kids, you don't fully understand this yet, but when you have kids and it's just the two of you, life becomes so much different. So we checked our bags. We're at baggage claim, and as the bags are coming around, I'm always paying attention to people, right? Because I'm looking that maybe somebody would even want to talk to me. That's my extroverted personality. And as the bags are coming around, I notice a guitar case. And as a musician, I see the guitar case. I'm like, oh, okay, guitar case. So I'm starting to, there's another guitar case. Oh, there's somebody holding a hard case where they would keep their, drummer would keep their cymbals, right? They would travel with their cymbals because that's kind of like the most important thing for them. Probably that and their snare drum and their kick pedal. But the cymbals. And I was like, oh, this is a band, and not just a band. I'm like, this is a band that does this a lot. And then you kind of start to look around at the people standing there. You're like, oh, yeah, these cool cats. That's definitely a band. Everybody's got sunglasses on inside at baggage claim. And if in the airport, you have to wear a mask. So everyone's got a mask on and sunglasses. And they're kind of getting their stuff around. And some people in suits are starting to come and help them with some gear. And I leaned over and I asked one of the dudes, I said, hey, what's your band name? And he leans back in and he says, it's Leon Bridges. And I was like, oh, like Grammy Award Winning Leon Bridges. So I looked up, and then I was like, oh, that's Leon Bridges right there. And just at that moment when I made that connection, everybody kind of got hustled out of the airport and into a van. So I searched real quick, and I saw that they were playing kind of a historic show for them, opening a brand new symphony hall, state-of-the-art in Orlando, which was unbelievable. And so they were doing a show with the Royal Philharmonic, who was in town for just a few shows. And so there were 2 seats left, so I booked them. We booked them, and we went, and it was an amazing show. And we were kind of sitting, just, serendipity, we were just sitting near kind of where the artist guests were sitting, over to the side and toward the front. And I saw who I thought was the guy that I saw at the airport. And after the show, I went up, and I just caught him before he was kind of being hustled out. And I was like, hey, I think I saw you at the airport. And he was like, yeah, you did. And so, we had a hug, and we were just talked about it. I was like, that's the reason I booked this, because you told me, got a picture. And he was like, hey, if the band's going to be hanging out later, he gave me his Instagram handle, was like, hit me up, right? It's Zeus2Cool, Xeus2COOL. And he's kind of head of security and kind of right-hand man for Leon Bridges. And, we did not go hang out because we're old and we're tired and we don't have any kids. So we were like, look, we could go hang out with the band, but I think we're going to have a quiet evening at home or back at the hotel. So we did that. And so that's one opportunity, that just seeing somebody and making a comment and having a conversation and being willing to book the tickets and go to the show and then go up afterwards and try to remake that connection, right? And this is kind of, I guess, the thing that didn't happen, right? We go and hang out with Leon Bridges and the band, right? Not an opportunity that comes up every day to hang out with a Grammy Award Winning band. And Sarah was like, did he mean that? I was like, yeah, he meant it. I was like, because that's how it works. And it got me thinking, like, that's how it works when it comes to taking opportunity. One step leads to another step, leads to another step, leads to another step. And before you know it, you've taken an opportunity. And many opportunities lead to you improving your situation, improving your life, having an experience that broadens your horizons. I started to think back through all the times in business when I took an opportunity fast, right? Not let me think about it, right? But like little opportunities that when you take them and you take the next step and you go through the doorway and you see what's next, those little opportunities are always what have led to the bigger opportunities. The bigger opportunity never just comes knocking on your door. And that's a lot of times what we wait for. We're like, well, I will do this once this happens. And I'll do that once I have this in place. And if you look, I talked about what successful people do a couple of weeks ago on the show. And this is another thing. Successful people are willing to take opportunities as they come up. And you're constantly just taking little opportunity. Here, have a conversation, send an email, make an ask, make a give to somebody. And the truth is that all of us, every day, have all of these little opportunities that could lead to this next thing, right? It's the illustration I just gave, right? I don't have the opportunity every day to go hang out with a Grammy Award winning musician, right? Just because place and location. But some of you live in places where opportunities like that and opportunities that would move you forward in business or make that business connection or make that relationship connection are with you every single day. And in a world where we're all connected online, I guarantee you that happens digitally every single day. And so my thought today is, how do we take these opportunities and how do we make something of them? And what I want to encourage you to do today is to realize that something is going to happen today that represents an opportunity for you and for your business or for your family. And you have to take the step. You have to be willing to take the step. But before being willing to take the step, you know what has to happen? You have to be looking for them. You have to be open to them. You're looking every opportunity when you see something pop up or a connection in your mind, and you have that thought like, oh, it would be nice if, or must be nice, or, oh, wouldn't it be cool if? When that happens, just do it. Just take a step. Send an email, send a text, send a DM. Strike up a conversation, right? You could be next to someone, you could just like compliment something, they're wearing. Oh, that's a really cool bag, right? Guess what? That starts conversation. And before you know it, you have opportunity. And when my wife and I are on a trip, this happens all the time because it's easy for us to talk to people. And so we have conversations with random people in restaurants and people at the airport, people at the hotel. It happens that way. But guess what? You can do it too. So whatever it is today that comes up where you think, hey, like 2 or 3 or 4 steps down the road, that could be an opportunity. I want to encourage you to just do it. Just send the DM. Just compliment the bag. And then see where it takes you to the next step. Because successful people are willing to risk the discomfort of taking the opportunity. So, I said you have to be aware and you have to be looking for the opportunity. But for many of us, what happens right at that moment is discomfort and fear sets in. And I'm telling you right now, unless you can just push past that and realize that the discomfort and fear, actually, it probably doesn't matter to anybody but you in this moment. Right now, I'm recording a podcast, and we were joking this morning. I do a live stream every day with a podcast called The Automotive Troublemaker with my business partner, Kyle Mountseer. And I'm here set up in a hotel, and we're live streaming. Like right now, I'm podcasting. And guess what? Do people walk by and kind of like, what is that guy doing? Yes, all the time. But guess what? I've gotten over the discomfort of it to realize there's more opportunity in communicating with you and making sure that this content gets out so we can start to interact. And I've seen it open up hundreds of doors. So Get past the discomfort. Be willing to be open to seeing the opportunities all around you, and just take one step today. And if you're wondering like what that is, think about it as it comes up today. I hope this podcast makes you say, I'm just going to do it. If there's something you've been putting off, I'm just going to do it. That thing you're afraid to ask that person, I hope you're just going to do it. I'm just going to send the email today. So that's it for 205 or 206. It's actually 206 today. So I hope that you jump in, look for opportunity, push past the fear of taking it, and just take that little step, because opportunity is everywhere. And I will see you next week.